Alright, YouTube, I'm back. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see my face. It's not too hot outside, so we're lucky that the camera didn't cut off on me. This one's going to be called Sex Game Black Top 13 Black Superheroes in Marvel Comics. Now, there's a lot of people who read Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Dark House, Image Comics. Everybody has their favorite male and female superheroes. But because I have an audience on YouTube and I have multiple YouTube channels, it's my job and my obligation to make ones for African American men and women, because a lot of times people expect me to talk about the other superheroes. You hear complaints from people that they get tired of watching movies and television shows of the same superheroes, and I compiled a list of the best of Marvel when it comes to African American men and women superheroes. So this one's probably going to be by far my best video. Can't guarantee if it's going to break 50 to 100 views. That all depends on my fan base. Without you people, I will not have the motivation and the confidence to come on camera and make these YouTube videos. It's because of you I make these videos. I try to make the best content, and I try to be creative and think outside the box. Alright, number 13 is Shade. Shade's a very strong, powerful black woman who's 40 years from the future, and she is the sister of Bishop. She's a time travel mutant, and her mutant powers is that she can absorb all types of plasma energy. She has superhuman strength, superhuman speed, stamina, and she can create a powerful force field and hit you with kinetic blast. Now, she does have telepathy. She does have some use of telekinesis and telepathy. Sometimes she uses those powers, sometimes she don't. Now, when Bishop didn't come back, she used her genius intellect to make advanced armor. Armor that's stronger than the world's armor. And she had a time device where she went to the past to find her brother and basically save the X-Men from fighting Apocalypse. So she is the sister of Bishop. And basically, she was in the military for 20 years. She's a master strategist and a battle tactician. Now, her character has never popped up in any film. It was a missed opportunity with her character because her brother popped up in X-Men Future Days Past, and they never mentioned that he had a sister, but the sister is just as strong and just as smart as Bishop is. Coming in at number 13 is Bishop. Bishop is a badass. Bishop is the time-traveling mutant soldier who has 20 years of military experience, battle strategist, battle tactician. He's arch-rival, turn-rival best friend of Cable. And besides Cable going back into the past, Bishop was the one who warned the X-Men that Apocalypse was going to come. And he was able to succeed where Cable failed. And in the same timeline, there's only two time travelers to warn the X-Men of future threats: Cable and Bishop. Now, Bishop can absorb kinetic energy to a small degree, which channel his power to 100%. He can absorb any energy, and he's able to make fireballs, hit you with lasers from out his eyes. He does have superhuman strength, stamina, durability, and the guy is great in combat. The guy knows his martial arts. He can spot traps. Now, I would love for his character to show up in more X-Men films. I believe his character just got thrown into the movie just because they forgot that that character is a big part of the X-Men universe. And I do believe he deserves to be in 2 or 3 X-Men films, or give him his own movie like you did Cable, to explain that Cable's not the only time travel mutant that is in that universe. Because Cable is one of those strong male characters that you can look up to as a black man. You know, he's one of the characters that confronted Wolverine and was not afraid of Wolverine or Cyclops. When he couldn't get through to Wolverine and Cyclops, he went to Charles Xavier. And when he does fight the X-Men, it's the same thing with Cable. He has to then fight the X-Men because they don't believe in what he's saying. He eventually goes back to another time where he's able to finally get them to listen to him. Coming in at number 11 is Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley is a genetic enhanced super soldier. When Captain America got frozen in a block of ice for 65 plus years in comic book history after the time of World War II, he came in and was a soldier that they tried to make into another genetic enhanced super soldier. The thing is, he ran away, and 50 years later, he still had the same abilities as Captain America with the super soldier serum in him. Ultimately, in an altering timeline, he would run into Captain America, and Captain America would kind of help him understand his enhanced abilities. This is a character that, if you wanted to make a Captain America 4, or if you wanted to make a Season 2 or Season 3 of Winter Soldier and Falcon television show, this would be the perfect storyline to introduce another super soldier character. Now, he is African American. He did have World War II experience. And besides Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Bucky Barnes, there was a black man in World War II who became a genetic enhanced super soldier from a different program. You know, he got kidnapped, he got abducted, experimented on, and he ended up with the same abilities as Captain America, but he also went mad because when it was 50 years later, he could not find his friends and family and had to live into a new world that he didn't understand, and the only person to help him understand was Steve Rogers, Captain America. Be nice if you did that in a Captain America 4 or in a Disney Plus television show, but his character serves what happens when you get enhanced abilities and you may not be ready for them. Coming in at number 10 is Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is a super powered version of Superman. Everything Superman does in DC Comics, Blue Marvel does. He's like Superman times 10. He's got superhuman strength, superhuman speed, stamina, durability, a healing factor. He can fly. He can breathe in outer space. He can absorb different forms of energy. He has a genius intellect. He can go as far as to enhance his physical attributes. He's able to... Basically, he's also a genetic enhanced super soldier with superpowers. And basically, he's like Marvel Comics' version of Superman. Or you could say Martian Manhunter. And in the future, he fights Sentry, who's also a genetic enhanced super soldier. And Blue Marvel's one of these African American characters that later graduated from high school and college with two or three college degrees and 7 sciences, and actually stayed hidden for almost 20 years. You know, he does exist, and he do know of the existence of Iron Man, Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men. He knew about all of these other Marvel superheroes for 20 years, and he stayed hidden. And it's not until Century gets his memories back that he comes out of hiding to fight Century. That's when they find out that there's other genetic enhanced super soldiers from different realities. Now, Blue Marvel is from planet Earth, but other versions of his character is from a planet where there's just genetic enhanced super soldiers. So he's Marvel Comics' version of Superman or Martian Manhunter. He's super powered. He's Captain America and Superman times 10 with super cosmic powers. Like, he can fight strong, powerful characters like Galactus, Silver Surfer, the Wanderer. He even has access to magic powers in some cases. So he has a combination of magic and cosmic powers put together. And he was given the name Blue Marvel because he wore a blue suit that was supposed to just enhance his physical attributes. But as time went on, all of those powers became permanent, and somehow they evolved in the 20 years that he would not use those powers. You know, he became a scientist, and that's how he knew of the Incredible Hulk. That's how he knew all these other characters, but he stayed hidden for 20 years. Now, this is a badass African-American superhero that I would love to see be made into a movie or a television show, because it would show that there is someone that can fight. Like, if you want to see another male character, this would be it. It would be Blue Marvel. You know, we lost Chaz Boseman as the Black Panther, and don't recast. Instead, introduce a new African-American superhero that exists in that universe. So you could have Nick Fury come in and recruit him like they did Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. You could do it the same exact way. You could do Avengers 5, Avengers 6, or Avengers 7, and that's where you can bring in that character, and that character can kind of do the same thing Miss Marvel does. Because he has, like, the same powers. You know, he also has other powers like teleportation, time travel. He can make physical clones. He has a lot of powers. So you could bring him in Avengers 5 or 6 or Avengers 7. Or you can give him his own movie, Blue Marvel, or just make him into a Disney Plus television show. He can appear in future movies like Doctor Strange 3. I mean, if you're doing the sequel, that would be the perfect time to bring in his character. Because he knows all the other Marvel characters, he just stayed away for 20 years. But he was there, and he knows them as well. Coming in at number 9 is Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Now, this is a character that's going to become in movies and television. He gets bit by a radioactive spider, and he has the same abilities as Spider-Man. Half black, Puerto Rican descent. There's the cartoon, which was very successful. Video game successful. Comic book is successful. The only thing we're waiting for is when they give us a Spider-Man 3 or a Spider-Man 4 or 5, or possibly Venom 3. He could possibly show up in one of those movies as another Spider-Man. And I think it would be badass if you had two Spider-Mans team up together on the big screen to fight somebody like Venom or Carnage. It would show he's not the only one that's bit by a radioactive Spider-Man. Or introduce Miles Morales in the new movie Spider-Woman, which will show there are other characters being bit by radioactive spiders. And this would be good because this will be something for African American women to identify. Anyone can be Spider-Man, so that would be the best way to introduce this character. Coming in at number 8 is Nick Fury. Well, you gotta have a badass soldier, right? Now, he has no superpowers, but he has over 50 years of military experience. He's a military scientist. He's very diplomatic, and he's good when it comes to being strategic. Now, Samuel L. Jackson is best known for playing Nick Fury. You did see his grandfather in the very first movie of Captain America, First Avenger. He talked about that story in the second movie, Winter Soldier. And he played a biblical role in the Avenger films leading up to that phenomenon. What would be nice if they went with a backstory of how he became Nick Fury. And it's good that we got to see him in Captain Marvel, but I believe this will be the character that will come back and introduce us to new Marvel superheroes for Avengers 5, 6, and 7. Because you do know at some point they will make 3 or 4 more Avenger films. They're not going to stop making Avenger movies no time soon. So he would be the guy that you would need to recruit other characters. Like if we don't have no Iron Man, no Black Panther, he would be the guy that would introduce us Wolverine. That'd be a good way. Introduce Wolverine. Bring in Blue Marvel. Bring in Miles Morales Spider-Man. That way he still has significance to the world of Marvel. Coming in at number 7 is James Rhodey, a.k.a. War Machine. Now, you saw him in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. He got to be in the Avenger films. But I feel like there's a missed opportunity. I feel like his character has so much more to offer. You could go and show his other Avengers when he's not with Iron Man. Like, there are stuff in the comic books where he fights a lot of these other Marvel villains where he's not with the Avengers. He's not with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. He's actually by himself fighting dangerous villains. And what better way to make a Marvel Disney Plus television show or movie with just his character? You can call it Disney Plus War Machine. Doesn't matter if it's 5 episodes, 10 episodes, or it's just a one-off movie. That would be very huge because his character's there. And you could just go back to the events of Captain America Civil War and you could kind of like show his other fights. Because he fought other villains between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. And then there's a 5-year period between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. In those 5 years, he could have fought other supervillains that have yet to be introduced in the world of Marvel. in the cinematic universe. So a James Rhodey War Machine movie or television show would actually be nice. Coming in at number 6 is Sam Wilson, aka Faicon. Now, he's been in at least 5 or 6, maybe 7 films already. And to me, it was nice that he was introduced in Captain America Winter Soldier. He's been in the 3rd film, Civil War. He's been in the Avenger movies. I feel like that it's good he's getting a television show. But what I really want to see with his character is the conflict that he had before he was introduced. Like, there are stuff about his character in his past that we don't know about. Like, he's not the only character with a jet fighter pack that called Faicon. There's been other characters. And what I would like to see is him fighting a bad counterpart of himself. You know, like what they did in Ant-Man 1, it'd be nice if someone from his past showed up in the television show and still wanted to get him for what happened in the past. You know, he said something bad happened to where he had to defect with an honorable discharge. It would be nice to see more of that backstory. Coming in at number 5 is Mystic Knight, the girlfriend of Luke Cage. She's like another African-American woman character that's just like Shuri, you know, a strong black woman that's nurturing, and she's good. She's a cop. It's unfortunate that her character never got a chance to get off the ground in Season 2, going into Season 3 of Marvel's television show Luke Cage. It would have been nice to explore her character. Now, I do believe her character could exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because if you do that, she has ties to other characters. Like, imagine if her character ran across Sean Carter, daughter of Peggy Carter, or she ran into Pepper Potts. That would be an opportunity to tie in characters from television into the movie world just by doing that. Coming in at number 4 is Luke Cage. Now, to me, again, you don't have to recast Black Panther. What you do is you introduce another character that we've seen before and do it. Now, we've seen him have a television show twice. In the 1970s, we had a 1970s television show called Luke Cage for 2 seasons based off the comic books. And then we got a live interpretation that ran for 2 seasons. Now, he's appeared in Jessica Jones, Season 1 of The Defenders, Daredevil. He's crossed over into like 4 other television shows, because there's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, his own show. Now, if you just make a revisal of television and pick up with Season 3, or you make Luke Cage the movie, that would be good, because then you can take elements from the Black Panther movie and make it where Luke Cage knows of that family, and there's someone from that family that visit Luke Cage, and tie Luke Cage into that world where he can be that strong male role model without messing anything up of the Black Panther storyline. In the comic books, Luke Cage does team up with the Black Panther quite a lot when he gets recruited for the new Avengers. And this would be a chance for that story to fold, where he can be introduced as a new character. So then you don't have to recast Black Panther. Just bring in Luke Cage. Coming in at number 3 is Shuri. Shuri is gonna take the mantle of the Black Panther, because it was done in the cartoons, the comic books, and moving forward, make Black Panther 2 and 3 as making her the main character. You can even make a Disney Plus television show to go into her backstory, to show the struggle of how she deals with things after the snap has been concluded from Avengers Endgame. That'll really get fans really invested in her character. Coming in at number 2 is Blade. Now, Blade's one of my favorite badass African-American superheroes. To me, Blade is the Batman of Marvel Comics. I don't care what anybody says, he is the Batman of Marvel Comics. He does everything Batman does, Blade does 10 times better. Some people might say, how could you say that? I like Batman. I have 3 Batman t-shirts. I'm not taking any away from Batman. But when you think about it, Blade is more of a dark-natured character than Batman is. Batman does go in the dark, but Blade lives in the dark. Blade was born in the dark. Blade fights vampires, werewolves. Blade fights supernatural creatures. And with his enhanced abilities, it would be nice to bring him in as that role model. When Wesley Snipes did 3 Blade films, we had 3 movies of Blade portrayed by Wesley Snipes, a Blade television series, and what would be good? If you made Blade the movie, which they are, and then you turn around and made a Disney Plus Blade television show where it's 30 years later, you could have Wesley Snipes play Blade in television while the actor plays Blade on the big screen, so that way you have more Blade. You can show Blade in his prime while you can show Blade in the future still fighting that never-ending battle of vampires. And this would be a chance for the Daywalker to be a character that knows Black Panther's history, and this would be the perfect chance for you to get behind Blade. Coming in at number 1 is the Black Panther tied with Storm. Both characters are number 1 because you can't mention Black Panther without mentioning Storm. You cannot mention Storm without mentioning Black Panther. These are 2 badass characters with magic powers and enhanced abilities. Both characters have actually teamed up and saved the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers. Both characters have had to save the Earth on 10 to 11 times, and both characters have been leaders of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers. Black Panther represents what it means to be a black man, and Storm represents what it means to be a strong black woman. These are 2 characters that when you see them get married in the comic books, that's what represents strength and unity for black men and black women. Not just movies and television shows, but this comic book is iconic because most black men see themselves as Black Panther, most black women see themselves as Storm. So it's unfortunate we're not going to get that defying comic book storyline from the comic books in the film, but maybe in television and maybe 5 or 10 years down the road, we can get that interpretation somewhere else. But this is why I pick it at number 1. Black Panther made it cool for you to say we have a black superhero. Yes, there's Blade. I know people are going to argue, what about Spawn from Image Comics? Spawn, I will make a completely separated video on why Spawn will be the next big black superhero. Don't worry, that YouTube video will come in about 2 weeks. But Black Panther basically opened the door and said it's okay to kick ass and take names. Now, Blade did come 10 years before, but a lot of people didn't really know who Blade was. People didn't know what Spawn was. And people knew who Luke Cage was, but Luke Cage wasn't that big of a superhero. Black Panther, everybody knows. So that's why this is picked at number 1. Until then, peace.